Kids can be amazing. Kids can be annoying and loud. What are these two doing? But what's it like on board for kids and families on a Cunard cruise? And what's it like for the fellow guests? If you're clicking on this to find out all the information about family and kids and you're thinking, oh, it's going to be overrun with kids on a Cunard cruise, do not panic. The most you're going to get is 200 plus on a summer holidays cruise to like Norway. When we were on board for 3 nights, there was 120 kids on board. You're going down to around 5 kids on the world cruise. And then obviously varied numbers in between when you're talking term time. But do not panic. A Cunard cruise is never going to be overrun with kids. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what type of Cunard cruise families and kids should be going on, in my opinion. And also, what's the reaction of fellow guests on board to kids? Go away. But now, let's dive in and find out exactly what it's like on board for families and kids. So our cruise was a 3-night cruise on Queen Mary 2. We had an ocean view room. We paid around $1,300 for the 4 of us. That's 2 adults, 2 kids, known as the 4Bs. Well, that's a good name. Next year, looking at prices for 2024, for the summer holidays, you're looking at Norway for around $3,000 for an inside for a family of 4, $2,800 for a 6-night transatlantic across to New York. The only one that's not really comparable to other cruise lines is the new ship Queen Anne, which is around $8,000 at the moment, and that's understandable for a new ship. What we liked on board, we liked the kids menu. Compares really well to other cruise lines, lots of variety, and on the flip side you did have a little fun activities, quizzes, crosswords, really good, and as I mentioned, good quality food for the kids. They could also choose off the adult menu. Ice creams. Most cruise lines now, you've got to charge extra for ice creams. This was available and included throughout the day. Also talking about things that are included, juice. Yes, normally that's just breakfast time, but juice was available throughout the day. Keep that Cunard, that's a real big plus and will really keep your costs down as well if you are a family on board Cunard. So both of those really, really good. Also really good, there was a section that had of the buffet which had pizzas, hot dogs, burgers, chips. We all like to think that our kids have a varied diet, but if there's nothing else to eat, they do like a hot dog, chips and burgers, and maybe the odd adult enjoys that as well. So this was really good quality and it was just fun food, and it was available for lunch and also for dinner. There was also some great choices for breakfast for the kids as well. I would say this buffet was miles above buffets you find on cruise lines like P&O. So big thumbs up with food. You're not going to get stuck if you bring your kids on. Queen Mary 2 and other Cunard ships are very outward looking, which is great for the kids. So when you're out at sea, when you're in ports, a lot of cruise lines now have very inward looking ships. And I would say this is a big advantage. The kids can just sit there and enjoy the sea. That's one of the reasons you're on a cruise ship, isn't it? The planetarium is the biggest at sea. And yeah, the kids might think, oh, it's a bit boring. But the shows are great. Find out about the planets. Who doesn't like looking into the stars above and finding things out about them? So that's great. A bit unusual for something at sea. So that again is great for the kids. Additional activities. Things like quoits. Things like shuffleboard. There's also a golf net. So it's additional entertainment. If they enjoy that type of thing, additional cruising, then it's going to be for your family. If you want slides, if you want high ropes, I've just got off Euribia, loved it on board there, but I also loved it on Queen Mary. You've just got to know they're going to be very different. You're not going to find a flume on Cunard. It would just be plain ridiculous. As far as entertainment goes, it's quite varied throughout the day, but in the evening there was a lot of shows that are 50s and 60s. The kids watched it, they enjoyed the music, but it wasn't really for them. Alice, the daughter of mine, she loved the Broadway show. So there was shows that were sort of multi-generational, but a lot of 50s and 60s type shows. Take a quick break just to ask that if you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, it's free of charge. We've got loads of amazing cruise content coming your way and you want to be the first to know about it. Let's now head into the kids clubs. Now, as mentioned before, there is less kids on board than you'll find on Royal Caribbean, P&O, MSC. So that means it's more individual. They've got more time to spend with your child in Kids Club, which are big thumbs up in my eyes. And as you can see from this shot that I'm taking here, I'm going to show you into all 3 of the Kids Club rooms. They're maybe a little bit smaller, but they've got loads of stuff in there. Toys, they've got the latest stuff, computer games. I thought it might be a little bit dated. If you could compare it here with MSC Euribia, I think it really compares well. Yes, there might be a bit more space, a couple of sort of more up-to-date computer games, etc. But I still think it really is quite favourable compared to other cruise lines. And I've toured quite a few, and I would say, yeah, absolutely. It's up there with the other kids clubs you'll find at sea. Now the kids clubs, 6 months to 23 months for the kids club. Play zone is 2 to 7. Kids zone is 8 to 12. Teen zone 13 to 12. They also do have the night nursery of an evening. Sessions are normally morning, afternoon and evening when you're sea day. And it goes down to an afternoon and an evening session when you are in port, but they'll all be in the daily newspaper. And also you can come and go. They're likely to come at the start and sort of stay for 2-3 hours, but you can pull them out earlier if you so wish. And they were really lovely staff in the kids club. Now, one of the things I would say is on board, the kids really enjoyed the pools outside. We had beautiful weather for 3 days, and I really would say you need to consider this for kids, because if you're going on a winter cruise or a transatlantic, apart from the inside pool, the rest of the pools may be out of use or just too cold. So when you're considering, would my kids enjoy a Cunard cruise, I really consider taking a summer months, because then you've got the pools, etc. You've got loads more activities for them to do. Something to consider. Also to consider, check us out on TikTok, Instagram and X. We have loads of stuff on our socials. Follow us, find us, Cruising with the 4Bs. As mentioned before, we stayed in a 4-berth outside cabin. Apart from those ridiculous lights blocking our view, this is what it looked like in the evening. And on Cunard, you still have your evening service as well as your morning one. So they'll pull down your beds and leave you a nice little chocolate on your bed. And who doesn't love chocolate? Kids and adults alike. One of the massive things as well, as mentioned before, less kids on board. The crew were excellent with the kids, and again give you that more individual service. Things like in the restaurant where they're making paper aeroplanes out of the menu. Just those small little things. They really made them feel welcome on board. On the matter of dress code, 99.9% of people do dress up on Cunard, so it's a lot more formal than you do find on other cruise lines, but the dress code doesn't count for kids. It is optional. A lot did it, and ours dressed up. Ernest lives in joggers and jogger tops, but on this cruise, he didn't want to wear a bow tie, but he wore a shirt. Families and kids on Cunard. First of all, I would choose carefully. As mentioned before, would I go on a Cunard cruise again? Yes, I would, most definitely. But I would choose very carefully. I'd go for a shorter cruise, maybe a week cruise. I'd go for a summer cruise, so they can maximise the pools and the outside areas. Would I recommend it to other people? Yes. I love MSC cruises. I love Royal Caribbean cruises. They're great. But if you want a real traditional cruise, then even if it's just a short cruise, show your kids, other family members, what it is like to be on a traditional cruise. It's just like afternoon teas, planetariums, brilliant, great stuff. So I would highly recommend it, but you really need to choose well. Also, are you a family that enjoys dressing up as well? If you really don't enjoy dressing up, I know that it doesn't count for kids, the dress code, but majority do dress up. And there's nothing wrong if you don't want to dress up, but maybe an MSC cruise is better for you. Maybe a Royal Caribbean cruise is better for you. So you really got to think of these things. A transatlantic would be absolutely brilliant, but at the moment, I wouldn't take my kids on a transatlantic. When they're a bit older, maybe I would. Your kids might be completely different. So all these things to consider, but if you are going to book a Cunard cruise or a transatlantic crossing, I would say jump in feet first and just get involved in all of the tradition. What's it like for other guests on board a Cunard cruise that don't have kids? There's never going to be a mass number of them, so don't worry, they're not going to be patrolling around the ship, causing mayhem. But kids will be kids. So round the pools, they are going to be jumping in a little bit, they're going to be having fun. And in general, I found that people absolutely loved seeing the kids having fun. But again, we did respect things when we were in the hot tubs. It did say if they were under a certain age, I need to be with them. So I was with them and we chatted to other people. They weren't dive bombing into the hot tubs. So I would say respect other guests, but then other guests respect the fact that kids want to have fun as well. If you keep control of them, they will love and they'll make the atmosphere really, really good on board. And also, I would say don't go with the attitude as well. All kids are exactly the same. When we were in one of the bars, one of the quieter bars, we had a couple that came past, looked at our kids and were like, oh. Actually, they were making no noise at all. They were on their computers, quiet as anything. We were making lots and lots of noise. And so maybe if they'd said to us, can you quiet down a little bit? Fully accept that, but they weren't making any noise. So all I would say is don't make any judgments, because some kids, yeah, are out of control. Their parents might be out of control, but also some adults are out of control and make non-stop noise as well. So, what do you think of Cunard? Have you been on board as a family? Let us know in the comments below. Do you think it should be adults only? It'd be great to hear from you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and we'll see you very, very soon on Cruising with the 4Bs on the screen very shortly. Give it a press. It is our ship tour of Queen Mary 2.